You know what they say about perfection? It's just a carefully crafted illusion. And I, Emma Wilson, was the master of creating that illusion. My Instagram feed was a testament to the life I'd built, or rather, the life I wanted everyone to believe I had. Perfect house in Seattle's most coveted neighborhood. Perfect marriage to Jack, my successful software engineer husband. Perfect wardrobe, perfect smile, perfect everything. 2 million followers who hung on my every post, every story, every carefully filtered snapshot of my supposedly flawless existence. But perfection, as I was about to learn, comes at a price. And sometimes, that price is everything you hold dear. It all started 6 years ago when I met Jack at a tech conference. I was there promoting a lifestyle app, playing the role of the sophisticated brand ambassador. He was the brilliant developer everyone couldn't stop talking about. Tall, well-dressed, and radiating that quiet confidence that comes with knowing your worth. Not traditionally handsome, but there was something about him that drew people in. Something stable, reliable, safe. We got married within a year. A fairy tale wedding that racked up 500,000 views on YouTube. #perfect match trending on Twitter. Brand deals rolling in from wedding planners to honeymoon resorts. My following doubled, and suddenly, I wasn't just an influencer. I was a lifestyle brand. Jack never quite understood my world. He'd smile and shake his head when I'd spend hours getting the perfect shot. Why can't we just enjoy the moment, he'd ask. But he supported me anyway, playing his part in our picture-perfect life. The devoted husband who'd appear in just enough posts to keep my followers invested. Not too many to seem attention-seeking. Just enough to maintain the narrative. Life was good, or at least it looked good on camera. We had our routine down to a science. Breakfast at trendy cafes every Saturday. Sunday brunches with friends at rooftop restaurants. Date nights at Michelin-starred establishments. Everything documented, filtered, posted. Likes and comments pouring in like digital validation. Then I met Chase. It wasn't supposed to happen. He was just supposed to be my personal trainer. Another piece of content from my Wellness Wednesday posts. Another way to keep my engagement rates up. Chase Parker walked into my life in worn-out Nike shorts and a faded tank top. No designer labels, no carefully curated image. Just raw, authentic energy that made my perfectly filtered world feel suddenly dull. He had tattoos that peeked out from under his clothes. A smile that promised trouble. Eyes that saw right through my practiced poses. "You're holding your breath," he said during our first session. "What?" "In every movement. You're so focused on how it looks, you forget to breathe." He wasn't just talking about the exercises. I started spending more time at the gym. Getting in shape for summer content, I told Jack. He nodded. Distracted by his latest project. Chase's sessions became the highlight of my week. The one time I could let the mask slip. The one place I didn't have to be perfect. It started innocently enough. Extra sessions that ran long. Coffee after workouts to discuss fitness goals. Messages about form and nutrition that slowly turned personal. Chase didn't care about my follower count. He didn't even have Instagram. Social media is just people pretending, he'd say. I prefer real life. Real life. When was the last time I'd lived in real life? The first time Chase kissed me was after a particularly intense session. No cameras, no perfect lighting, no carefully chosen backdrop. Just raw emotion in an empty gym at closing time. I should have stopped it there. Should have remembered my perfect life, my perfect husband. But Chase's kiss tasted like freedom. Like everything I'd been missing while crafting my flawless facade. Things escalated quickly after that. Secret meetings disguised as training sessions. Hidden messages on platforms Jack would never check. Chase made me feel alive in ways my carefully scripted life never could. He was spontaneous, dangerous, exciting. Everything Jack wasn't. Everything I thought I didn't want until I had it. Then came the Tesla. Chase mentioned wanting to start his own mobile training business. I just need a car, he said. Something reliable, something that makes a statement. I didn't hesitate. The money was there in our joint account. Jack never checked the statements anyway. He trusted me completely. That trust made it so easy. $4,200 for the down payment. A quick transfer, a few signed papers. I told Jack it was for Sarah, my best friend. He believed me, of course. Why wouldn't he? I was his perfect wife. The lies came easier after that. $1,200 at Nobu? Team building dinner. $3,000 missing from our account? A made-up robbery story complete with gang members and face tattoos. Each lie bigger than the last. Each one accepted without question. But something changed in Jack. Subtle at first. He started asking more questions. Looking at me a little longer, a little harder. Like he was trying to see past the filters I'd perfected over the years. I should have noticed the signs. Should have seen the careful way he started documenting everything. Should have realized that my tech-savvy husband might have ways of tracking what I thought was hidden. But I was too caught up in Chase. In the thrill of our secret meetings. In the excitement of living a life that would never make it to my Instagram feed. A life that felt real, even if it was built on lies. Then Chase started talking about leaving Seattle. We could start fresh, he'd say. Somewhere nobody knows your name. The idea was terrifying and thrilling. Leave my perfectly curated life behind? Trade millions of followers for one real connection? I started moving money around. Small amounts at first. Then larger transfers. Planning, preparing. LL while maintaining my online presence. Still posting perfect breakfast photos. Still sharing workout routines. Still playing the role of devoted wife. But Jack was watching. And I was about to learn that sometimes. The biggest threat to perfection isn't the lies we tell others, but the truths we hide from ourselves. I didn't know it then. But my carefully constructed world was about to shatter. And no filter in the world could fix what was coming. No caption could explain away what I'd done. No amount of likes could fill the void I'd created. The day everything changed started like any other. Wake up at 6 a.m. Take my morning selfie in perfect lighting. Post it with an inspirational quote about gratitude. Meet Chase for our training session. But something felt different. There was an edge to the air. A tension I couldn't quite name. Chase was distracted, checking his phone more than usual. Everything okay? I asked, touching his arm. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Just some business stuff, he said. Nothing to worry about. I should have worried. Should have seen the signs. But I was too invested in the fantasy to notice the cracks in its foundation. Later that day, I came home to find Jack sitting at our designer dining table. The one I'd chosen specifically for its photogenic qualities. He had papers spread out in front of him. bank statements, screenshots, documents. My perfect world started to blur around the edges. "We need to talk, Emma," he said. His voice was calm. Too calm. The kind of calm that comes before a storm. And in that moment, I realized my carefully crafted illusion was about to meet reality. And reality always wins. I sat across from Jack, my mind racing to craft the perfect explanation. But for once, no filter could smooth over this moment. No carefully chosen words could edit away the truth spread across our table. "I know about Chase," Jack said simply. The name hung in the air between us. Heavy with all the lies I'd told. All the trust I'd broken. "It's not what you think," I started. The words felt hollow even as I spoke them. Jack's laugh was bitter, unfamiliar. "Really, Emma? Because I think it's exactly what it looks like." He pushed the bank statements toward me. "The Tesla wasn't for Sarah, was it?" My silence was answer enough. "Did you think I wouldn't notice?" he continued. "That I wouldn't eventually see what was happening right under my nose?" His voice cracked slightly. The first sign that my perfect husband was breaking. "I can explain," I tried again. But Jack was already pulling out his phone. Playing a video I didn't know existed. There I was, in our living room. Speaking softly into my phone. Chase's name clear as day in the audio. My blood ran cold. "You put cameras in our house?" "Our house." Jack's eyes met mine. Cold. Distant. "You mean the house I paid for while you played influencer?" The words stung more than they should have. "I contribute," I protested. "My social media brings in money." "Your social media brings in lies," he corrected. "Just like everything else about you." I felt my carefully constructed world tilting. "What do you want from me, Jack?" "The truth," he said simply. "For once in our marriage, just tell me the truth." The truth. Such a simple request. Yet it felt impossible to grant. How could I explain Chase? The freedom he represented? The escape from the perfection that was suffocating me? I felt trapped, I whispered. In this perfect life we built. The life you pretended to want, Jack corrected. The life you showcased to millions while secretly destroying it. My phone buzzed. A message from Chase. I reached for it instinctively. Jack's hand shot out, faster than I expected. "Let's see what your trainer has to say." Before I could stop him, he was reading the messages. His face growing darker with each scroll. "Planning to leave, were you?" "Jack, please." "Please what, Emma? Please don't expose your lies? Please don't ruin your perfect image?" He stood up abruptly. "Pack a bag." "What?" "Pack a bag." Each word precise. Cutting. "You wanted to leave? Here's your chance." "You can't just throw me out," I protested. "This is my house too." "Is it?" Jack's smile was cold. "Check the deed. Check the mortgage payments. Check anything real, Emma. Not your filtered version of reality." My hands shook as I climbed the stairs. Our bedroom felt foreign suddenly. The perfectly arranged pillows I'd photographed countless times. The artfully displayed designer bags. All props in a show that was ending. I grabbed a suitcase. Started throwing things in. Designer clothes that suddenly seemed meaningless. Makeup that couldn't hide what I'd become. My phone buzzed again. Another message from Chase. Hope fluttered in my chest. Meet me at the usual spot. I've got everything planned. We can leave tonight. At least I still had Chase. At least something real remained. I thought I'd hit bottom. I was wrong. The usual spot was empty when I arrived. No Chase. No Tesla. Just an empty parking lot and growing darkness. My calls went straight to voicemail. Messages unread. Hours passed. Reality began to sink in. Chase was gone. With the Tesla I'd bought him. With the money I'd given him. With the last shreds of my dignity. I checked into a hotel. Used my credit card still linked to Jack's account. One last act of defiance. Or desperation. That night, I scrolled through my Instagram. 2 million followers. All seeing the perfect life I'd crafted. None seeing the truth. The comments rolled in on my latest post. Couple goals. So blessed. Living the dream. I laughed until I cried. Then just cried. The next morning brought more surprises. My credit card was declined at breakfast. Jack had frozen the accounts. My phone was flooded with notifications. But not the usual likes and comments. News articles. Police reports. Chase's face plastered across Loca. L News websites. Suspected con man flees with stolen vehicle. Multiple victims across 3 states. Pattern of seducing wealthy women. The Tesla wasn't just gone. It had been used in a series of crimes. Drugs. Theft. Even a hit and run. And it was registered in my name. I called Jack in panic. Straight to voicemail. Called Sarah next. I can't help you, Emma, she said. You lied to me too, remember? Used my name in your schemes. Click. My perfectly filtered world wasn't just cracking. It was shattering. And I was standing in the debris. Alone. Days blurred together in my hotel room. I watched my follower count drop. As the story spread. As the truth emerged. Each notification a reminder. Of what I'd lost. Of what I'd thrown away. The police came with questions. About Chase. About the Tesla. About money transfers and criminal connections. I told them everything. No filters. No perfect lighting. Just the raw, ugly truth. They seemed satisfied I wasn't involved. Just another victim. Another fool who fell for Chase's act. But the damage was done. Brands started pulling contracts. Not aligned with our values, they said. Followers unfollowed in droves. Can't trust anything she posts. It was all fake anyway. I tried posting an apology video. Barefaced. Tears real. Voice shaking. The comments were brutal. Crocodile tears. Still performing. Once a fake, always a fake. Jack filed for divorce. The papers arrived at my hotel. Along with evidence I couldn't dispute. Photos. Videos. Bank statements. All proving what I'd done. All showing who I really was. My lawyer advised me to settle. You don't want this going to court, she said. Your reputation is damaged enough. As if reputation mattered anymore. As if anything mattered. I signed the papers. Watched my name removed from accounts. Properties. Everything we'd built together. Everything I'd showcased to the world. The final blow came when I returned to our house to collect the last of my things, only to find another family living there. Jack had rented it out. Without telling me. Without needing to tell me. I stood on the sidewalk, staring at what used to be my perfect life. A woman appeared in the window, arranging flowers in my favorite vase. In my perfectly lit kitchen. Living my life. But really living it. Not just performing it. My phone buzzed one last time. A notification from Instagram. Your account has been flagged for suspicious activity. I laughed. Deleted the app. Then all social media. One by one. Until my phone was just a phone. No more filters. No more perfect angles. No more carefully crafted captions. Just reality. Raw. Unedited. True. And for the first time in years, I could breathe. 6 months passed in a blur of legal meetings and police interviews. I found myself in a tiny studio apartment. The kind I would have never posted on Instagram. The kind that felt more real than any luxury home I'd showcased. The divorce proceedings Air brutal. Jack's lawyer was ruthless. Every lie I'd told. Every dollar I'd spent on Chase. Every fake post I'd made. All laid bare in cold legal language. I sat in the courtroom. No makeup. Hair pulled back. Wearing clothes that would have never made it to my feed. Watching Jack testify. His voice steady. His evidence damning. Your Honor, his lawyer said. Mrs. Wilson didn't just betray her husband's trust. She systematically deceived him. Used their joint finances to fund her affair. All while profiting from their supposedly perfect marriage. My lawyer tried to argue for a fair split. Cited my contributions to our lifestyle. My social media income. The judge's response was cutting. Income based on fraudulent representation. Not a basis for equitable distribution. The house went to Jack. The cars. The savings. Everything we'd built. Everything I'd photographed. Gone with the bang of a gavel. But the legal battles weren't over. Chase's crimes caught up with me. The Tesla he'd stolen, my name still on the papers. Used in drug runs across state lines. A hit and run that left someone in the hospital. My signature on everything. The prosecutors were sympathetic, surprisingly. You're not the first woman he's done this to. Won't be the last. They showed me photos. Other women. Other lives he'd destroyed. All following the same pattern. I wasn't special. Just another mark. Another fool who fell for his act. While performing my own. The charges against me were dropped. But the damage to my reputation was permanent. No brands wanted to work with me. No followers trusted me. My perfect life had become a cautionary tale. I found a job at a local coffee shop. The kind of place I used to post about. Now I was behind the counter. Making drinks for people living the life I'd lost. Sometimes they'd recognize me. Whisper to their friends. Take subtle photos. Post them with mocking captions. Look how the mighty have fallen. Remember her? The fake influencer? Karma's real, isn't it? Sarah came in once. Ordered her usual complicated drink. The one I used to post about sharing with my bestie. She didn't meet my eyes. Left without a word. Just another bridge burned. Nights were the hardest. Alone in my small apartment. No ring light. No perfect backdrop. No adoring comments to validate my existence. Just me and my thoughts. And the weight of everything I'd lost. I started therapy. Not for content. Not for show. But because I needed to understand why I'd built such elaborate lies. Why perfection had seemed so important. Why I'd thrown away something real for something fake. Social media addiction is real, my therapist said. The constant need for validation. The pressure to maintain an image. It can distort your whole reality. She was right. I'd lost touch with what was real. Traded authentic happiness for artificial perfection. Until I couldn't tell the difference anymore. 1 year after everything fell apart. I saw Jack at a local market. He looked good. Healthy. Happy. With a woman who looked real. No perfect poses. No calculated angles. Just genuine smiles and comfortable silence. He saw me too. Our eyes met briefly. No anger anymore. Just sadness. And maybe a hint of pity. I turned away first. That night, I did something I hadn't done in months. Logged into my old email. Found thousands of unread messages. Hate mail. Death threats. And surprisingly, some support. One email caught my eye. From a small publishing house. Interested in my story. Not the filtered version. The real one. About social media addiction. About the price of perfection. About losing yourself in a curated lie. I started writing. No filters. No edits. Just raw truth. About the rise and fall. The fake life and real consequences. The lessons learned too late. The book deal wasn't huge. Nothing like my influencer contracts. But it was honest work. Real work. I wrote about Chase too. They caught him eventually. In Miami. With another woman. Another Tesla. Another trail of broken lives. He tried to contact me from jail. Baby, I can explain everything. We can still make this work. I blocked the number. Some lies you only fall for once. The book came out in spring. Filtered, Confessions of an Ex-Influencer. It didn't top any bestseller lists. Didn't get millions of likes. But it helped people. Real people. Struggling with the same addiction to perfection. I got letters. Real ones. From women thanking me. For showing the dark side of social media. For being honest about my mistakes. For helping them step away from their own carefully curated prisons. My tiny apartment started feeling like home. The coffee shop job became more than just a paycheck. I made real friends. The kind who didn't need to document every moment. The kind who saw me. Not my image. Sometimes I still catch myself thinking about the perfect angle. The right filter. The clever caption. But then I remember. Real life doesn't need editing. Truth doesn't need filters. And happiness. Real happiness. Doesn't need an audience. End.